Today we're going to do a book review. That's right, a book review. Now, I have not finished this Bible study. Can y'all see this? Trying to aim it so you can see it well. It says, Finding Your Place in God's Story, Get Wisdom Bible Studies. Now, this is, as you can see, it's a 5-week. Put it closer. It's a 5 weeks with the women in Jesus lineages. And it's by Teresa Swanstrom Anderson. Okay. So to start, I've only been in this book a week. So when you open up the book, it gives you information. The first thing you do is you see the little, I want to call them references or whatever concerning the book. It says, like Katz Armstrong wrote, Teresa's Bible studies are some of the best on the market. Not only has she found a way to teach biblical truth with profound wisdom, but she does so in such a winsome and relatable way. This source is a treasure. Now, it's Kate Armstrong, author of No More Holding Back and The Between Place. And there is another author that made a little comment in here. And then there is a confidence coach, TV personality, strategist from Marshawn Evans Daniels. I didn't even notice that they said her name in here. I imagine these people because they're authors as well. I know Marshawn Evans Daniels is an author because I actually read her book. And these other people are authors too. They may even have the same publisher and have little, I don't know if you want to call them references or if you want to call them footnotes. You can see them here. I only read one. But what I want to tell you is about my first week doing this Bible study. I want to share some things with you. So the first thing is when I opened this Bible study, this is the first page. And I also shared this on my Instagram, and forgive me if it's sideways. What I'm trying to do is trying to aim it where you can see all the words. But I'm going to read it. This had me in tears. It says, to the woman who thinks she's not enough, who lives in the margins, who feels too much or too small, who thinks her story is too hard and her life is too messy. You are worthy. You are needed. You are loved. You are loved just as you are. Rise up, dear friend. Step into the story God is writing. He's inviting you into great things. And let me tell you, when I read that part, I burst into tears. In fact, I on my Instagram, just one moment, I'm going to show you. Hi, I wanted to go to Instagram just to show you this post. Like I actually posted, it says, so I just wanted to pause and take a moment to ask, why in this book am I reading, in this book, I am reading, did the first page in the book. I turned, it should say 2. I put IO because I was still kind of teared up. And read entirely have me emotional. Like I was in tears, y'all. I'm reading the Bible study because I'm in a space where I'm inviting growth physically and spiritually on my victory journey toward becoming more. When you see this post, please say hello. So this is on my Instagram, and I can't believe that the author, if you can see right here, the author, Teresa Storm, she said, "Hi, Jackie. I'm so excited. It resonated from the first page." And this, if you couldn't see it, this is the picture of me posting the first page because I was so shocked. Like, I always go on my social media and I post things of encouragement for other people, for me, because during the time that I was in depression, or the times that I was in depression, I had to be the biggest cheerleader. I mean, there was nobody saying, "Jackie, you can do it. Jackie, you're worthy. Jackie, you're needed. Jackie, you're loved. Jackie, just as you are." I didn't have that voice, you know? And so I believe that I got it. It was so amazing. So amazing. And so I started the reading. In the beginning, what I had planned on doing is I was planning on doing it like once a week. But when I got into the first first few pages, it's really difficult to do it just in one day unless you really have a lot of time. Generally you would probably need 3 days because I actually took, to be honest, I took 3.5 days to do it. And because there is some writing to do. Um, like the first chapter talks about Tamar, and it's titled "A Woman Who Pursues What Is Right." A woman who pursues what is right. And I was like, okay, let's dig down into it. And so the first week, it has you reading Genesis 38. Now, for those of you who don't know anything about Genesis 38, I'm not going to steal the whole story or go through everything. It does give a little example of maybe her personal life or other people that she knew. But Genesis 38 talks about the connection between Jacob, between Tamar and Judah. And it's more focused on Judah and Tamar, but it actually gives you the story because of course it's a Bible study. They want you to read the Bible. It talks about the word, which was, I loved, I had to underline it. You see, I underlined it in my book. It talks about Genesis 12, where it says God spoke to her husband, which was, they were talking about Sarah's husband. In Genesis, it actually, in the first beginning, it actually refers to, it doesn't say, in this book, it says Abraham, but in my Bible, it says Abram. But if you know that Abram's name was actually changed. But anyway, it's Genesis 12:4. And then it gives reference to 12:21. It talks about God's promise, uh, promise, promise. It says Sarah's son Isaac was a long time coming. It took 25 years for Sarah to have Isaac, but God first spoke that word to Abram. And it took 25 years and when I read that, it was talking about Sarah's trust in God. In order for us to pursue and it made me think about my trust in God. In order for us to pursue any goal, we have to trust that we're worthy of success, that we can achieve those things, that when God gave us the promises of provision, of prosperity, while our soul prospers, that everything around us prospers. We have to trust in that word. Now, this is not what was in her Bible study. This was my perception of the word that I was reading. In the in the Bible reading, she asks you questions. It asks, after reading Genesis 38 in your favorite translation, pin down the essence of the story in a few sentences. So I wrote, like, during the time, which is true, tradition played a large part of the words and the reasons behind the judgment or the sentencing, I want to say, with keeping Tamar and why Tamar was obedient. Now, Judah decided he was going to move away from his father. And so he was going to move away from what he was taught, what he believed. And he ended up being given by his father rule, right? Rule. And he had a staff, he had some jewelry. I'm just making it in plain language. And he moved away and he married this woman. He married this woman and he had children. I'm just taking y'all to through some steps. He had children. And one of his children's name was with ER. And married Tamar and died. And in the Bible story in Genesis 38, it says that he was very wicked and he died. So in tradition, when one of the brothers died, one of the other brothers are to marry the widow wife and give birth to a child and name it after the brother that died. Well, what happened is she did marry his brother. However, the brother did not want to have a baby in his brother's name. The Bible story tells saying it would not be his. But in my translation, I believe he was saying because the baby wouldn't be in his name. It was like he's giving away his son. He didn't want to have a child by his brother's widow, and name it after, his brother. So he did not. And in the Bible scripture, it saw that his acts were wicked. Well, God saw that his acts was wicked. So that brother died. So Judah had a third son. And instead of marrying the son right away, he was scared, believing that Tamar had some type of curse because two of his sons died. Now, there's so much in this story. I don't want to give away all of it. The second question, it asked me what my thoughts were in the story. And I put that I believe that Tamar was following tradition. And in the story, Judah feared that Tamar was cursed because two of her sons died after he wed them with Tamar. And he was afraid that if he had forced his son to marry Tamar at that time, he would die too. And that was all he had at the time. And so what he did is he found a gray area, a loophole, and said, oh, my son is not even, I think his name was Shiloh or something like that. He was not of age to be married. And he sent Tamar back home to her parents. You go home, child. And when he comes to the age, I'll call you. And that was the ultimate diss. And because for a woman to go back home where she started was shameful. And I felt like Tamar probably felt trapped. How can I move forward? All I want to do is fulfill my womanly duties. And because still today, women are taught you grow grown, you get married, you have children. That's embedded in women. And to not be able to do that after you've made your commitment and after you've been committed, after you've done your part, it's heartbreaking. I feel like she probably felt like she wanted to be freed. She wanted to move forward. She wanted to stop living in shame. So she came up with an idea because she was tired of waiting. And for the rest, you have to read the book. This is a good read. I look forward to sharing some of my thoughts later, um, toward the end, or maybe even in the middle. So, if you have not got this book, go and buy your verse. And if you have read the book, buy you a book. And if you have read the book, I want to hear your thoughts. So post them below. And if you haven't bought the book, don't worry. There's more to come.